Right, let's see what we got here. 7 o'clock, well, 6:59. This is the first virtual town hall. So we got it scheduled from 7 to 8:30. I just really wanted to talk through vision and have a conversation, have some interaction, and just really throw some ideas back and forth. I think part of the reason why we're in the predicament we're in is lack of vision to see a different way out of this situation. We're only shown certain solutions, and most of the time the solutions don't really solve the root problem. And I'm just dealing with surface level issues. So we'll see where we are. Get some folks some time to join. I know it's 7 o'clock. Wanted to start on time, so we'll see who joins in. And this is, talking through it. This is directly related to the campaign. We're trying to do a GoFundMe for me as presidential candidate. So this will be on the GoFundMe whether someone shows up or not. If no one shows, then it'll just be a quick run through this presentation, and that'll be online, and maybe someone will show for the next one. And the idea is to start a conversation, because once the conversation is started and people can see the value in thinking about solutions, thinking outside of the box, and the things that we can do ourselves without having to go through any middleman or intermediaries, then we can start building some momentum. But the tough part is building momentum, and it is getting people to see that it's not going to change itself. The system is not going to change itself. And we've talked about this before in the kickoff on TikTok. So, and I may, depending on how quick this is and who jumps in, I may jump back and do a live on TikTok. We'll see, but maybe not, because it'll be kind of redundant information, and this will be on there. So again, we'll give a few people a chance to join. This is something I've, tried to advertise and put out on different levels. I have a limited reach as far as public footprint, if you will, and resources, things of that nature. So it's really grassroots. It's really grassroots. So that's why it's really showing the vision. And if people can get behind the vision and start to co-create that vision, then we can build some momentum. That's really what this is about. So, we're starting from scratch pretty much. So, it is what it is. So I remember in college, we used to give folks 15 minutes. If the professor wasn't there in 15 minutes, they would end the class. So we will, not gonna be 15 minutes. We'll start in like 5 minutes. So, for the people that are late and all of this stuff. But yeah, in class in college, there was a 15-minute rule. I don't know if that's still in play, where if the teacher didn't show up in 15 minutes, class was pretty much canceled. You can leave. So, but we're going to continue the class, whether the teachers or the students, we both interchange those roles. That's the thing about this thing. It's, I said before, leader of a leaderless movement. So it's not like I'm claiming to have all the answers and claiming to know everything. I'm just someone that sees that we can do things better, and want to be a part of that solution and have ideas that we can shoot holes in and we could work with and craft to make better, and at least something to start with that we can work on. And that's the intent, is to really start that. So if no one joins in the next minute, we'll start and we'll take it from there. So this is recording, right? You should see the first slide. We'll kind of go through these slides. There's 12 slides. I did this as well on TikTok for those that are following on TikTok, but I just kind of wanted to talk through each of them in some detail. I would have liked to have had a conversation, so some Q&A on some things and maybe get some other ideas to refine it a little more, but it may just be me talking. So it is what it is. And I will say this while we're kind of wasting a little time. I also posted a video today, just did an expo with the class of 2026 and 2027. And so these are like 8th graders. And they were at this convention, not a convention center, but it was basically a convention for them to talk to different employers, kind of, what they want to do with their future, things of that nature. And one of the conversations I had with a group of kids was whether I think about unions. I said, I don't disagree or I don't want to stop anyone's ability to organize, and what I thought about their proletariat and the bourgeoisie and the 1% in the ruling class. And I did mention to them that the only way that 1% can control 99% is if the 99% don't know their own value. So that's part of this story as well, is to show people their own value and their own ability to make change, right? All right, so we'll just jump into it. All righty, so first slide, you can see if you are working on something exciting that you really care about, you don't have to be pushed. The vision pulls you. So we talk about vision, we talk about a vision for humanity, talk about the potential for us to create the reality we want to experience. That's really what it boils down to. And it's exciting to me because our potential is so much greater than we've been told. We've experienced a lot of things. So that's exciting to really wonder and imagine what we can really do if we put our minds and hearts and heads together. And it's a process and it's work to do, but the benefits will be worth it, right? So that is exciting to me, and that's what I do care about. Raising consciousness, unity, peace, all of the things that we're capable of doing, especially on a planet where we're given everything that we need to survive and thrive. And we are allowing a specific system to dictate how those resources are shared and distributed. And the current system only shares and distributes that in a certain way. It's not beneficial to the whole, it really only benefits a few. So when we talk about the vision needing to be, the vision pulls you. So this vision is pulling me. As you see, no one's here, and we're still going to go through and we're still going to do what we say we're going to do, right? We say we're going to do 5 of these, and we're going to do 5 of these in March, right? So I don't need to be pushed to do this. That's the vision, okay? All right, so let's go to the next one. So the future is vision. So I talk about futurist from a sense of showing potentials that aren't here yet. That's what a futurist does. Looks at trends, tries to predict the future, and look at future trends, pretty much. So this is a trend for higher consciousness. This is a trend for humanity to get out of the rut that it's in. And I put on this how the first awake president sees humanity's future. So we'll kind of talk through that. So this is what I call an enlightened vision. It's one where you follow your passion, and it's one where we're in balance with the earth. We're just not blindly and unconsciously consuming things that are detrimental to our own health and detrimental to the environment, right? We are part of the environment. The environment is a part of us. We have got away from that and believe and have acted as if nature is separate from us. So we're satisfying a false economy with a real environment. And the false economy is based on infinite growth, infinite profit, but the actual environment, the goods, the resources, the actual resources are finite. So it's a game it's not going to balance itself out. So part of the game of consumption is to try to feel a need of various things, right? It's a lot of marketing involved in it, but part of it is to make you feel or make you seem that you're not complete without this thing, or your happiness depends on this thing, and things of that nature. And a lot of it is repetitive things. A lot of these products have planned obsolescence built into them to keep you buying more. So the value is just short term, right? But we need to think long term, right? We don't want to live on a planet that the value is short term. We want this planet to last for generations and generations, as it has for us. And part of it is following your passion as well. It's being able to allow people to be a part of this, to be able to express themselves, to be able to live a life that is in alignment with their dreams and their goals and what they're passionate about. So that's the Enlightened Vision. That's where you want to go, right? So what does that look like? It's where you do what you love and you get what you love, okay? So you're aligning your passion with your profession, and you get what you love. It's valuable and sustainable, right? So that's the long-term Enlightened Vision. That's where I feel that when you reach that state, like it's where we're in balance, right? And the network is set up to where the things that you love to do are the things that people love to receive, right? And we balance that out. We've become we've reached a steady state, if you will, right? And that's long term. So it just gives now put pie in the sky and the other thing in the other image. It just shows a potential, right? Not saying that we'll reach there or that we'll get there in a short amount of time, but this is just something that we can shoot for, right? Shoot for the moon and you get in the stars and you get in space, then that's still a win. You got off the planet, right? In using that analogy. So then what I wanted to do was take that Enlightened Vision, what the maximum potential is for humanity, and let's bring it down to a long-term vision. Let's bring it down to something that we could potentially work on now and look at now. And I looked at it two ways: a resource-based economy and a time-based currency. So a resource-based economy, where we reach steady state with our natural resources. So we're using less, we're recycling more, and we're not on the hamster wheel of just unconscious, blind consumption. The things that we do have are the things that we need and are valuable, and they're made to last. And we're not just blindly doing things for profit. We're not just, we're thinking long term, okay? And time-based currency, where the time is the most valuable thing that we have. And we're trading time for money right now, and time is not valued for all of us the same. A rich person or wealthy person's time is valued more than a poor person's time. That's how the wealthy are able to get the things that they get, because their time is valuable and other people's time is not. So, that's the way the game works. And it's been that way for a minute. Even when you look at cheap labor to free labor with slavery, it was all based on getting the value for someone else's time at a low cost or no cost. Same thing that's going on now. Turning a profit is being able to pay someone the smallest amount necessary, and you want to make the most profit possible. So a time-based currency is where the time that we have is equal. That's all we have. We can never get that back. Your time is equal to my time. So a time-based currency is where we use that as a basis for things, and not just we tie that to something real and valuable, which is our time, not to something that's fake and fiat like money, right? So I want to give an example of this. This will be an example, and I know you can't really see my cursor on this. Yeah, you can't see my cursor, but we'll just kind of walk through this. So this is just a basic example. Let's say you wanted to have a house, water, electricity, internet, phone, vehicle, and fuel. Okay, let's say these are your basic necessities, right? So that's the top row, and this is just a basic example. So let's say your house is going to be 2,300 square feet, and I'm just using rough numbers here. Again, this is conceptual at this point. I'm not saying this is what we should do. This is something we can do. And this is things that we can discuss and hopefully have more conversations on it and get people involved to really look at what's possible, what's not possible, what works and what doesn't work, and then we get some momentum building. But let's say you want a 2,300 square foot home, and I just use what's on the internet now of 1.28 hours per square foot, right? So in other words, the time invested to build that home is almost 3,000 hours, right? Let's just say the time invested to get the materials is 40 hours, okay? So that's a one-time time investment, okay? With the phone, let's say it's 24 hours for the phone, 35 hours for the vehicle, okay? So these are one-time investments that the person would invest their time in to receive these items, right? So if you want to invest your time in something, you want the things you receive to be valuable, you want it to last long, you want it to be high quality, right? Because we don't want to keep wasting time with that. So then you got the recurring time thing. So these are the things that come up monthly. These are things that need to be maintained. So your electricity, your water, your internet, and your fuel, right? As you consume those things. So this is also investing time in those things. So what does that look like? That could be volunteering or investing your time with the companies or the entities that produce these things. So if you want water, you're investing 2 hours per week at the company that filters the water and processes the water. Same thing with the electricity, same thing with the internet, right? So the time you're investing is directly involved or directly not involved, but directly part of the things you want to get back, right? So I'm investing time in not superficial things, but things that I want to benefit from, right, directly. So you can see the things that are not on here, the things that I'm not interested in. So why am I going to invest my time in something that I'm not going to get a benefit of, right? So using that example, you have one-time things and you have recurrent time things on a weekly basis. So this is not working the 9 to 5 just to acquire things, just to pay bills and things of that nature. Your time invested is what pays those bills, okay? So if you aggregate that up, you add all that up over 72 years, right? And I looked at it in for this way for a reason. So 72 years of this versus 44 years of working a 40-hour-a-week job. So if you were to get into the workforce at 18 and you work those 44 years and retire, that's your retirement age. So I'm showing you over 7,200 years, 72 years, starting at 18, right? So that's 70, 72, 10, 82, that's 90 years, right? And it can go longer than that, but we're just using that for an example of lifetime, right? So this will be something that, and again, we can play with the ins and outs of it. I think there will be a point to where you can retire from this as well, but let's just use this example. So 72 years of this, right? So because in your later years, I mean, 8 hours a week is doable to do something. Maybe that's an activity to keep you involved in the community, right? We tend to not value elderly people to a degree. Anyway, 72 years, right? So total time invested is almost 33,000 hours, right? I know it sounds like a lot, but when you work 44 years at 40 hours a week, that's almost 92,000 hours, right? So total years invested, let's look at that. So in order for me to enjoy these basic necessities for 72 years without any bills, using this example, I have to work less than 4 years. It's like going to college. That reduces the total hour of work 64%, right? That's saving almost 7 years of time that can be used for other things, more beneficial things, more things that I'm passionate about, more things with my family. Over those 44 years of working 40 hours a week, and that's just average, right? I would have invested almost 92,000 hours, right? I would have worked almost 10 and a half years, okay? So that just shows the difference in the time-based economy. And the reason why you would need to invest the time in things that you want to benefit from is because those things take labor as well. And labor is not free. We're not trying to exploit the labor in this new system. We're trying to have us support ourselves with the things that we need. So that's one example, right? And I looked at an extreme example. I call it the Bezos example. So if someone wanted a mansion and he had a 27,000 foot mansion and you wanted a yacht, right? And I just put 2,000 hours for that. So the one-time time investment fee for an example of that is 37,000 hours, right? So that's a lot of hours to invest in acquiring that kind of material, right? And then you look at the recurring time to keep it up because you're going to use more water in a large house, you're going to use more electricity, use more fuel, just using these numbers. So 56 hours a week, invest in yourself in this time. So for instance, if someone wanted that type of house and that type of lifestyle, that's how much time it will take to invest in that, right? And that limits someone exploiting someone else's time because now it's it's a value proposition, right? Am I really getting value from the time that I'm going to spend on this in return, right? It becomes a question that the person has to ask themselves. Right now, it's easy to do because, again, we're exploiting other labor. So over 72 years, that total time invested is 246,000 hours, right? It's a lot of time. It's 28, almost 29 years, or 28.24 years, right? And yeah, you see that that's a lot of time to invest. So not many people want to invest that much time for that much excess, right? It's really excess. Why do you need that much excess when everything is taken care of? And if that person worked 44 hours a week, 40 hours a week at 44 years, that's still 91,000 hours. So you can see that they're working almost 3 times as much for excess. So again, we can get away with it now because time is valued differently. So I can pay someone else to do this and I don't have to. But in a time-based economic system, all time is valued somewhat equally, right? So that's not going to work. Who's going to invest their time to help you have something that's just excess when they have what they need, right? So it kind of works like that. Just an example, just something we can play around with, something that we can look to improve. So let's go back into another short-term vision. Okay, so that's a midterm, long-term vision. Let's look at the short-term things that we can do to start to get ourselves more efficient, if you will, so that we can potentially have those steps in the future. So reduce waste, increase efficiency. So I'm an engineer, mechanical engineer by degree, but I've been doing packaging since I graduated, right? And a lot of the packaging stuff has to do with cost efficiency, cube utilization, Six Sigma, lean, problem solving, things of that nature. It's not just boxes, if you will. It's been a wide range of things dealing with engineering things, problem solving. The same methodologies apply regardless of what field you're in. So the things that I've learned, I'm applying to this from a political standpoint. So reduce waste. You want to reduce waste in any process that you have, in anything that you have, right? Because waste, it's just waste, right? It's non-value added pretty much. So you cut out wasteful and non-value added activities and systems, and you want to increase your efficiency. You want to scale up and automate high value activities and systems. So the things that are value added, you want to make more efficient. The things that are, and then the things that are not value added, you want to get rid of. When you really look at what is needed from a humanity standpoint, it's very little. Just look at what a baby needs to survive. It doesn't need that much excess, it just wants to bare necessities, the base necessities. We also talked about safety, law, quality, delivery, and cost. So you want health, you want to be safe. Law is what we're dealing with now, as far as a lot of human behavior is dictated by law. Quality, you want high quality products, you want high quality of life. And delivery, we want to be able to exchange goods. We want to be able to transfer resources from one point to another. Efficiency and cost. Cost is last because we want the quality and value to be up, but cost is something that we want to be efficient with. So that's why we look at automating things so that it takes the labor out from our standpoint. And it's not to increase profit for a select few. It is to free up time for, again, us to pursue our passion. So those are the things that we can look at from the short term. So let's just look at the amount of waste that's in the current political system now in the United States. So these are just simple things that we can look at. Now, there's probably a lot more money than this, but these are just examples that can be easily taken, that can easily be looked at. $967 billion in waste is going on now, probably a lot more than that. Food waste, let's take a look at food waste. So this is a short-term goal. So US waste is estimated at 30 to 40% of the food supply. 30 to 40% of the food supply is wasted, right? For a lot of different reasons. So could that be increased? And could we use those foods to help other people, to feed the homeless, and then have those people contribute in different ways as well, right? So that's something to look at. 31% of food. So you can look at the slide yourself, what's been in landfills, that's also a waste, water, labor, energy, all the things that go along with that, 161 billion. So that's something that we can look at now to try to improve. We have the ability to do that, right? So Legalizing marijuana, right? This is another one. So almost 11 billion in the short term, right? Because that was saved in government expenditure, enforcement. The war on this particular medicine does not make any sense, especially when you have it legal in certain states. It does have medicinal purposes. Why it is a Schedule 1 drug, quote unquote, is more political than scientific. Also, the potential taxes that you can gain from it, and also reducing the policement of it, right? The cost for arrests and the things that does to families for just simple possession of a plant, right? And to even go deeper than, yeah, we're not going to go there, but let's go there. To even go deeper than that, it's a plant that you have receptors for. It's a natural thing. It's been used for a long time, and it's interesting how this particular drug is illegal, but other drugs, and I'm calling it a drug, but other drugs are legal. So that's part of our law system, right? What defines legal and illegal? And does it make sense? And is this really a Schedule 1 with no medicinal benefits? And you can't have medical marijuana if it has medicinal benefits, but that's a rabbit hole we'll skip for right now. And another 796 billion in waste, right? Green data centers, right? So there's a lot of waste in government, duplication, fraud and analytics, being able to do things using more efficient ways, right? We do this all the time from a corporate standpoint. They're always looking to maximize profit and increase efficiency. Government doesn't necessarily have those same pressures because they're not beholden to shareholders wanting to profit, right? They can just increase their budget. So they're writing their own check, if you will. So there's not really an incentive or a pressure to reduce costs, to reduce spending, to be more efficient. But we need to do this. This is our money that we're wasting that can be used for other things that could benefit us greater, right? So yeah, a lot of ways. We can do things digitally. We can consolidate assets as far as real estate and things of that nature. A lot of things that we can do. These are just some examples, and I'm sure as we get more into this, there'll be more things that'll come up. But these are just examples of things that we can do to eliminate waste on a lot of different levels. And if you back this up, $967 billion, right? That's just one thing, just 3 slides, right? 967 billion. And what could we do better with those funds if directed in better ways? So these are just examples of things that we can do that you won't hear very many politicians talking about because they are part of that system. They are part of the revolving door between law and business and corporations. And we are expecting them to change a system that they benefit from, for one, and that they're part of, for two. So this is an outsider perspective, and very much outsider perspective, as I'm the only one that's on this call right now. But that's either part of the story or that's going to be the story, right? But if we back the vision up, reduce waste, we want to increase efficiency, cut out wasteful and non-value added activities and system, scale up high value activities and systems, right? And the long term is a time-based currency, resource-based economy, right? To where we're able to take humanity off of the hamster wheel of just working to pay bills and to satisfy the needs of a select few. We can actually invest our time in the things that we value and support those systems, corporations, and entities that provide those services, right? So that's the ideal. And then the long-term vision is do what you love, get what you love. So that kind of gives you an example with the resource-based economy and time-based currency. But really to get us close to this, to where you do what you love, get what you love. You're aligning your passion with your profession, and you are creating and getting things that are valuable and sustainable, right? That's the enlightened vision, right? Where you follow your passion and we're in balance with the earth. So that's the futurist vision. We're kind of going backwards now. And the first awake president, talking from a spirituality standpoint, we haven't gotten to that yet. That's another thing that sets me apart from other candidates, because they don't look at the long-term aspects of it. They don't look at the environmental, the spiritual, the mental health, the physical health, all of these things that contribute to a quality of life that we want to have. And human potential, really maximizing human potential, right? So that's what this boils down to. And again, if you're working on something exciting that you really care about, you don't have to be pushed. The vision pulls you. So this is the vision, and this is the direction that is pulling me. And I'm seeing who else wants to be involved in that. And we have the numbers. The only way that 1% can control 99% is that 99% don't know their own value. That's part of the spiritual journey, is to realize the divinity that you have within and take your power back and realize that we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We don't need any intermediaries. We don't need any go-betweens. We don't need any authority figures to tell us what's best for us. We can create the reality we want to experience, right? That's the vision. And it excites me because I know it's possible. Whether or not I'm surrounded by people that are on board with it, it doesn't change that it's possible, right? And visionaries continue to push forward with what's possible regardless of the circumstances, because they know what's possible in their mind. And I know what human potential is. It's definitely greater than what we see now. And it's not about perfection, it's about progress. So that's where we are. I would have liked to have had some questions and answers, but maybe the next one we will, but we'll finish this one up and we'll put it up, and this will be the first one. So hopefully we see you guys next week. And I appreciate you watching at this point. All right, y'all. Peace.